StraighTAllDay.com.
Show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and offensively, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go make things happen instead of wait for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is part 2 of 3, where we're going to discuss entrepreneur disciplines, things that you as an entrepreneur need to have in your repertoire, things you need to be doing on a daily basis in your business, whether these are skills of yours or these are actually not really skills. These are just things that need to be happening in your business. So repertoire might not even be the best word, but if you heard yesterday's episode, then you understand what I'm talking about here. So I'm not even going to search for a better word. We're just going to get right into it. And before we do, I'm going to tell you all that the daily motivation text message that I send out every single day free of charge should be coming to your phone today. The only reason it would not is if you are not a member of my text community. But let's fix that right now. Just text me at my number right now, which is 305-384-6894. And every morning when I send out the daily motivation text, because you're a member of my text community, you'll be receiving that message straight to your phone free of charge. Secondly, Work on Your Game University is the place where you go to work with me directly. That's where you can be coached by me. That's the only place to get coached by me. It's the only place to get your questions answered directly by me. It's the only place where you can get a full-blown strategy for your business. You can get systems implemented into your business, and that accountability that you need to make sure that you continue showing up and doing what you're supposed to do. All that happens at workonyourgameuniversity.com. That is the place you go, where you will see all you need to do to take your next steps and move into getting into the university and getting the real life education, business education, personal development, professional development that you need for your future progress. Again, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Now, let's get into it, stepping right into point number 4 here today, entrepreneur disciplines. Number 4, short and long-term plans. Do not sacrifice tomorrow's dollar for today's dollar. What does that mean? Today's efforts should not just be for right now, but also for next quarter and next year. So if you are familiar with my work and you've been around here for some time, let's say 30 days or more, you know that I'm big on goal setting. I write about setting goals all the time. I talk about setting goals all the time. I wrote an entire book on that is partially about goal setting. It's not all about goal setting, but goal setting is a big part of that book. It's called The Mental Workbook, which you can get at workonmygame.com/workbook. And that book is all about setting goals and programming your conscious mind through your conscious thoughts. Why does setting goals matter so much? Because a goal is simply a plan for your future success. So you need to have short and long-term plans for your short-term success and your long-term success, which are reflected by goals. When you have goals, that means you have plans for success that are going to happen in the future, whether it's short-term, medium-term, or long-term. All right, that's what goals are about. Setting goals is a big part of it because, again, it sets up whatever's going to happen in your future. So if you don't set any goals, then your future is probably going to be mediocre. There'll be some ups, there'll be some downs. You set goals, you're probably going to give yourself a better future because you're giving your subconscious mind, which controls 85% of your thoughts and in turn the majority of your actions, you're giving your subconscious mind a directive to get ready for success in the future. And when you have 85% of your brain focused on success in the future, there's a good chance you're going to create that success. Why? Because the human brain is the most powerful tool known to man. So you should probably put it to work on your behalf. And again, it's not what you consciously think about, it's what you subconsciously think about. How do you get something into the subconscious mind? Is through repetition and emotionalization through conscious thought. So what you do with that 15% controls what ends up in the 85%. Challenge is most people never take control of what's happening with the 15 or the 85, and therefore they get a lot of mediocrity as a result. Everybody catch all that? And again, in the mental workbook, which you can get at workonmygame.com/workbook, you will learn exactly how to do this, and I will walk you through exactly what to do, and you're going to do it right there in that book. That's why it's called the mental workbook, not just a book that you're going to read. So this is why goals matter so much. Every entrepreneur should have short-term goals and long-term goals for what's happening in your business. And then when you see how well that works in business, guess what? You'll probably also apply it to your personal life as well. So the business things that I'm going to give you, these can also be applied to your everyday life outside of work. So you need plans for the short term. That means what you're going to do today and maybe this week, and also plans for the long term. What are you going to do this quarter, this year? What are you going to do over the next year and the next 5 years? Successful people always consider the long-term ramifications of their actions, which means something that you do to make money today should not cost you making money in the future. It should help you make money today and help you make money in the future. And successful people also think about their long-term goals, and they plan their short-term actions based on those short-term actions, making goals happen now, but also building towards their long-term vision. So as a business owner, every day you should be doing something that is setting you up to make money tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Not just doing things to make you money today. Because if you're only doing things that are making you money today, and those are all the actions you're taking today, then tomorrow you gotta do the whole thing all over again, and the next day again, and the next day again, and the next day again. And what happens is with that, you end up in a position of, one thing that can happen is burnout, because you feel like you're always having to rev the engine up every single day just to make money and stay alive that day. Another thing that can happen is you start to look at, eventually you want to get to the point where you're looking at the long term and like, where is this actually going? Where am I going with all this stuff that I'm doing? And you'll realize that, okay, I just set myself up for a dead end situation because I can never stop working. It's like you're running on a hamster wheel or running on a treadmill. Either way is the same thing. You got to put out a whole bunch of energy just to stay afloat, but it's not actually getting you it's not moving you forward. And I've been in that situation. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be in that position of what I call tactical hell, where you are tactically, you're doing great. All right, you're doing things great tactically, but it's not actually moving you forward anywhere because all you're doing is running as hard as you can and stay in the same spot. I talked about this in episode 2328, how to get out of tactical hell. So if you find yourself there, I guarantee you one of the things you're going to learn about when you listen to me talk about getting out of tactical hell is having short and long-term plans. So in business, for example, one way you can do this is think about, how can I make money more than once from any way that I give value? Because you don't want to only make money one time when you're doing business with anybody. No matter how much money it is, you want to make money more than once. So how can I make money sustainably? And making money sustainably, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be something like, if you think of companies that usually stick around for a long time, you think of like phone companies or the electric company that you pay your bill to, insurance companies. What do they have? They have what we call continuity. That means people are paying them over and over and over again. Every month you pay the electric bill, right? Every month you pay the phone bill. Some of you are subscribed to certain programs. Some of you are members of Work on Your Game University, or you get the Bulletproof Bulletin and the Black Book, or other programs that I've had. You pay every single month to stay in those programs. We call that continuity, which for the business owner means there's money coming in every single month. You want to look at ways for you and your business that you can have people paying you money all the time, over and over and over again. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount of money. It can be smaller amounts. And again, you look more towards the volume. It can be bigger amounts where there may not be as many people, but there's still money coming in. There are business owners I know of who have mastermind groups where they only allow 10 people in per year, but each member of that mastermind, each of those 10 people pays $100,000 to be part of that group. That is a true thing. That is really happening right now in business. Now, these people don't do a ton of advertising because most people who would see that ad can't afford to be in that group. But these things do exist. And there are other people who have memberships where it's $9 a month. I'm trying to think of something I pay $9 a month for. I've used apps like, there are apps where I can maybe put merch on a site, something like that, and only pay $9. It might be $5. It might be Apple iCloud storage. I think I got an Apple iCloud storage is like $2, $3, 99 cents a month, something like that. But you think of how many people they have using it, that's where you can get the volume coming in. So you want to look for ways that you have continuity so that you're making money consistently, not just making money one time. And again, successful people are always thinking of the long-term outcomes of the things they're doing, not just the short-term outcomes. Mediocre and unsuccessful people don't have long-term vision, so they're only thinking about right now. They're living day by day and hoping things turn out good. The problem is eventually you can't sustain that. You can't keep doing that forever. Point number 5. Today's topic, again, we are on part 2 of 3, entrepreneur disciplines. Number 5, as an entrepreneur, you must avoid distractions. Stay away from distractions. Now, I titled this point avoiding distractions, but if I wanted to say it more accurately, I would say you find your focus. But I call it avoiding distractions simply because it speaks to the biggest challenge that many entrepreneurs have, which is distractions. So that's why I'm just using those semantics, because I think it'll get across to you better. Biggest challenge that many entrepreneurs have is a lack of focus. And the reason you have a lack of focus is because you are not following the first 4 points that I've shared in this series. Specifically, you don't have clear goals. You don't organize your efforts. You're not using your calendar. And this is why you don't know exactly what to do. And this is why you are easily distracted. See, a distraction can be anything that pulls you off of your focus. So if you don't have a focus, then everything is a distraction by definition. Everybody heard what I just said? Should I say that again? A distraction by definition is anything that pulls you off of your focus. But if you don't have a focus, then that means everything is a distraction by basic definition, because a distraction is pulling you off. It's called distraction. What is traction? Traction is when you know exactly where you're going. Everything is aligned and moving the way that it's supposed to. Distraction, also known distraction, is when you are off of that track. But if you don't have a focus, that means there is no track, which means everything is a distraction. And this is how most people live their lives. This is how many people run their businesses, believe it or not. Entrepreneurs, I'm looking at you. Many people run their businesses this way. They are always distracted because there is no track. There is no focus. There's no game plan. There's no organized effort. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? You see all these points go together? You, as an entrepreneur, have 100% say over how your time is used every day. So I want you to start exercising that power and that responsibility. And because at the same time that you have 100% power and responsibility over your time, you also have a ton of leeway, and you also have no built-in accountability when you waste time. If you want to waste time, you could waste time with because you don't have any built-in accountability. Give you an example. I was in a WhatsApp chat today with a business partner of mine, and they sent me a link to a video, and they asked me actually first before they sent me a link to a video. If you know me, don't send me links to YouTube videos. I will not fucking watch them. But this person asked me, hey, can I send you a link to this video because I think it's funny. I don't know if you would find it funny. And they kind of give me an idea of what it was. I said, sure, send it over. I might find it funny. And they sent it to me, and I watched it. The video was only like 3 minutes. And I watched it, and I said, actually, this video was funny. And then I was texting with them. We were talking a little bit about that, and we had a little bit of an exchange. And that took up about 10 minutes of my time. I was eating while I was talking to them, so I was kind of multitasking. But it took about 10 minutes of my time. And as an entrepreneur, there's nobody holding me accountable for that 10 minutes being used looking at something that was not on my calendar or was not planned here today. And this is what happens with entrepreneurs. The difference with me having it been 10 minutes, having been 10 minutes, is that some of you, this happens to you for 10 hours. And this is not okay. You can't run a business sustainably with that happening over and over and over again. So you need a system for making sure that your time is not wasted. And if you hear me talk about Work on Your Game University often enough, you notice that I always talk about that. Mindset, strategies, systems, and accountability. Those last two pieces there will make sure that your time is not getting wasted. Systems in place so you know exactly what you're doing, same thing, same way every time, and accountability so when time does get wasted, because it can happen because we're human, we're not perfect, we're not robots. We want to be robots, but we can't always be robots. The accountability to check ourselves and check our systems when things get off track and say, okay, this is off track. How'd that happen? Why'd that happen? What can we do to make sure it doesn't happen again? And it doesn't keep happening over and over again. So it's not hurting us in business so that when we're watching the money, there's some actual money to watch. You see how all of these pieces go together? Hopefully you're catching us. So remember that discipline, folks, is created by structure. Discipline is created by structure. You don't get discipline and then put a structure, update my notes here. You don't get discipline and then go put a structure and system in place. No, you put structures and systems in place and they make discipline come out on the other end. Discipline comes out of the bottom of the funnel, metaphorically speaking. When the structure and the systems are in place, distractions are boxed out because the structure and system act as guardrails to keep the distractions out. Similar to how when you're driving your car on the highway, you notice that median in between, that big slab of concrete in between the northbound and the southbound lanes. It keeps cars that are going in one direction from crossing over and slamming into the car going in the other direction at 80 miles per hour. And the reason they have those medians on highways because usually you're not making left and right turns on the highway, and also because of the speed of the cars, they put those there instead of putting them in the street. You just got the yellow lines because people aren't going as fast. Point number 6. Today's topic, once again, we are talking entrepreneur disciplines. These are things you need to be doing on a regular basis as a business owner. Number 6, self-care. Yes, self-care. Which is what? Self-care is you doing things to take care of yourself, you individually as a person and as a business owner. This is important because if you're not taken care of, you can't run a business. If you're an especially driven entrepreneur, and I know there are many of you who listen to this show, you could theoretically, and I know I could, give all your resources to meetings, your laptop, and to generating revenue. You could spend all day doing this if you wanted to. All your waking hours doing this if you wanted to. Although I do not do this, I know that I could theoretically fill my entire day just doing work stuff. I could sit at this desk, if you're watching this on video, I could sit at this desk all day, tapping away at a computer or a phone, never leave the house, never go to the gym, never go outside, not get any fresh air, not do anything for my personal health or self-care. I could fill my day with just work stuff if I wanted to. We could all do this, entrepreneurs, while sacrificing most of our sleep, exercise, nutrition, and all the other stuff that keeps us physically and mentally healthy. Even though I could do it, I don't do it because this is a mistake. Some of you are doing this, and it is a mistake while you're doing it. This is a mistake. No matter how driven you are, no matter how many hours you want to work, you heard somebody say, hey, if you're running a business, you should be working 60 hours a week, and you're calculating, hey, I got to do my 60 hours, and then you're sacrificing your self-care in the process. Stop doing that. This is a bad idea. And I'm going to sell you on why it's a bad idea, and instead sell you on self-care. The reason you need self-care as an entrepreneur, and this is something that, before I even get into this point, just for you all to understand how I operate. I wake up at about 3:45 a.m. every day, and the first 4 hours I am doing self-care activities. So I wake up, I'm drinking water, I'm doing yoga, doing meditation, then whatever workout I'm doing, whether that's cardio, boxing gym, usually one of those two things, at least as of this recording. Then it's foam rolling, stretching, sometimes going to jacuzzi, shower, shave, get dressed, all of that. That's the first 4 hours of my day I'm spending doing that stuff. And because I spend the first 4 hours of my day doing that stuff, I'm better prepared to spend the rest of the day doing this stuff, like talking to you all, writing emails, books, speaking gigs, coaching, and sales calls, things like that. So you want to make sure you're taking that time for self-care. And I prefer, and people who work with me, you are in Work on Your Game University, usually I prefer that you do this first thing in the morning so that you get it done, it's out of the way. Because most of the people I work with in the university are entrepreneurs. You get to make your own schedule. You could do it in the middle of the day. You could do it at the end of the day. Problem is, in the middle of the day, things could happen that throw your schedule off. At the end of the day, you're already tired. The end of the day could get extended because you're doing work stuff. A meeting runs late. You're dealing with a client. A call goes long. You got to make this extra sale. And all of those things can throw your schedule off. But if you start at the beginning of the day, usually none of your clients is trying to talk to you at 5 in the morning. That's when you get up, get your stuff in, get your self-care taken care of. It's set in stone. You do it every single day. Nothing interrupts it. And boom, that's out of the way. So now you can spend the rest of the day doing things that may not always be so uniform and may not always adhere to your best laid plans and best laid schedule, because you are the most important person in your business, especially those of you who are business owners. As long as you have it set in stone to take care of yourself, now you will be in better shape to deal with all the other randomness that happens over the course of the day in business. The reason that self-care matters so much in the people who work at your business, they need to be emphasizing self-care as well. So if you have staff or employees, they need to be taking care of themselves as well, because you are the most important people there. If you all are not taken care of, then you can't serve your clients, you can't take care of your customers. So, and if anything ever happens to you because you're not taking care of yourself, then you won't be able to serve anybody at any level, and the whole business falls apart. So you got to take time for self-care as a personal requirement, not as a luxury. You should not be looking at self-care as a luxury. This is something that you must do. The time you spend working out, making sure you're eating well, getting proper rest, meaning sleeping, taking care of your body. These are not luxury items, everybody. These are not things that you do when you get around to it or when you have time or when you have extra. No, this is part of your life. These are requirement items that will allow you and position you to be at your best, to look your best and feel your best, so you can serve people at your best and help them be their best. And feeling your best, looking your best, all of those things, and being at your best, all of these are part of your presentation in business. I heard Andrew Tate, who's a well-known influencer, I heard him say that he could not promise, because he talks about helping people escape from the matrix of life, just the things that they've been taught and things that you've been taught, and he's going to help you identify the bullshit and stop following the bullshit in life. He calls it the matrix. He says, how can I help you escape the matrix if I present myself and look like I cannot escape from a hamburger? And that was a very good point. All right, the discipline that you use and that you display in taking care of yourself. This regards your grooming, your clothing, your physical composition, how your body looks, your health, all of that stuff. All of that plays a role in how people perceive you. Because how are you going to talk to people about being disciplined and being on point if they look at you and you don't seem disciplined and you don't seem on point? It's going to be harder for you to make that sale. So if you are perceived as being a disciplined person who takes care of yourself, then people will surmise that you could probably help them do it. Or at least they'll be open to the fact that you might be able to. You can at least teach them how to do something the same way you do it for yourself. But if you appear to not take care of yourself, well, how can someone trust that you can help them learn how to do it for themselves? This is a legitimate question. And this is something you should think about, and how the way you're showing up based on what you're doing with your self-care, because you can't hide it if you're not doing it, and you can't hide it if you are doing it. How is that reflecting in the way that your prospects, the people who might give you money, how is it reflecting in the way they see you? They won't tell you this, but it does play a role. And I'm sure you know it plays a role, especially those of you who have you've been neglecting your self-care. You know this is playing a role, and you know you need to do something about it. So allow what you're hearing right now to be your invitation to actually start doing it. And inside of Work on Your Game University, I'll help you organize and structure this so you can do it the same way every time. Let's recap today's episode, which is part 2 of 3. We're on a 3-part series on entrepreneur disciplines. Number 4, short and long-term plans. Do not sacrifice tomorrow's dollar for today's dollar. You should be getting today's dollar and thinking about how does this build into tomorrow's dollar. All your efforts should be not just for now, but also for the long-term future of your business. All right, businesses that sustain, they do things now that help them in the future, not just things that help them right now today, because you don't be running on that treadmill or that hamster wheel, only getting things today, then you got to do it all over tomorrow. Point number 5, avoiding distraction, which also can be called finding focus. As entrepreneurs, you get to make your own schedule. You get to do whatever you want to do with your time, and often you don't have any inherently built-in structure that is holding you accountable for making sure your time is being used the right way. You get to decide how to use your time. Therefore, you have to put the systems and the structure in place that makes discipline happen as a byproduct. Again, it's not that you get disciplined and then you put systems and structures in place. It's the other way around. You get the systems and the structures in place, and you will be disciplined because all you're going to do is follow that system. Number 6, self-care. If you're an especially driven entrepreneur, it will be easy for you to pass on doing any type of self-care and just focus on doing business-related stuff. And you could probably fill an entire 24 hours just doing business-related stuff, because why not? Because you got plenty of stuff on your plate that you could always get done. Most entrepreneurs, your to-do list could theoretically be a never-ending list, right? There's always something else that you could be doing in your business. While I understand this, you need to understand that your self-care is what allows you to handle those things on that list. The more you take care of yourself, the easier it will be for you to take care of the business stuff. So do not look at self-care as a luxury item. It is not a luxury item. If something falters when it comes to your health, then it doesn't matter what you did in business, does it? And the way that you show up personally, the way you show up yourself, the way you take care of your body, the way you take care of your grooming, your clothing, the way that you are presenting yourself to the people who might want to do business with you, that plays a role in how they perceive you, and it determines how that interaction is going to go, even if they don't express it. I'm expressing it to you so that you understand it, and hopefully you do something about it if you have not been doing anything about it. That said, tomorrow we're going to go into part 3 of this, and text me. Let me know you want to get that daily motivation text straight to your phone every morning. My number is 305-384-6894. And Work on Your Game University, that is where I will help you put the structure and the systems in place so that you can be doing these things on a regular basis, because everything I'm telling you here, these are disciplines, meaning these are things that should be done consistently, not just one time. Come to Work on Your Game University, and I'll walk you through exactly how we will install these into your business, and then I will help hold you accountable for actually doing it and support you in the process of making sure these things are in place, making sure that they're working, and that you and the systems are being held accountable for actually producing a result based on what you want to get to. All of that is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.